Welcome to the Synced Up podcast, where we talk tech, digital media, and all things business. This week, we're talking about on-site versus cloud storage and which option should you go for. But before that, let's have a quick catch up. So, Josh, it is a new episode. What have you been up to this week?
So this week, we actually went out on, I went out on a shoot, which became something interesting. So there was a lot of preparation. It was a weekend shoot. So I gave up my Sunday, which I don't really like doing too much, but I'll do it. I'll do it for clients. So yeah, it was up in King's Lynn, and due to some unexpected things, the job it started and everything was going to plan. And then so it's quite a big job, and there's a lot of little moving parts with like different contractors and all sorts. I think there's probably about 5 or 6 different I wouldn't say companies, but like parties involved in this thing. And one of them had forgotten to tell one person to do one job, and the whole thing couldn't happen.
Oh, no.
So
How many people were involved?
I'm gonna say this is a guess. This is a bit of a guess, but I would say on the day there were about 25 people sort of involved.
Oh, dear.
Including police who had been hired for the job.
So you were a small part of a bigger cog, right?
Oh yeah. So from like my side of things, it was actually quite good, because this will still happen. This is still one that is going to happen. We've got it in for this weekend, so that's cool. But yeah, in terms of, for me, I was still able to get some shots anyway, which we'll still be able to use. So for me, I was like, that's fine, because I still managed to do probably like an hour and a half's worth of shoot time, and then I can sort of add that into the final piece later on. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But obviously they wanted to do it that day, and it's probably quite costly that it didn't happen that day.
Well, yeah, if you've got that many people on standby, and
I
you've done all
know.
gone.
Sunday as well, so Sunday rates for people.
Oh, geez.
I know.
I don't want to even know what the cost, what that was
Yeah.
for that one mistake or that one person not being told that one thing. Wow.
Yeah, because I mean, I had a great time, because I travelled up on Saturday evening. Travelled up. It was in King's Lynn, so it's about 3 hours from here.
Where even is King's Lynn?
So King's Lynn is on the east. It's like northeast coast. It's not too far up. It's not too far north, but it's right on the other side of the country.
Right. So we're Worcestershire based.
Yeah.
So, okay. Northeast.
So yeah, and it's not like there's no sort of direct motorways that really get you there, so you sort of have to zigzag your way across.
Oh, wow.
So I enjoyed my little journey over there.
I'm not sure I'd be as positive as you. I mean,
Stayed
we've got like 6 hours of driving, unless you just like the peace and quiet.
Yeah, but I stayed at Premier Inn, had my Premier Inn breakfast, and I was all
Something to look forward to.
I've got no issue with it. Some people would disagree, but I think it's fine.
I'm a brunch guy though. I love a good brunch. In fact, and I think, and feel free to tell me if you think I'm wrong, but Worcester and Worcestershire have some of the strongest brunch options in the country.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
We have got great places, and my wife gets often very jealous when I'm arranging meetings with people and I'm doing it at some lovely brunch place and making it. I'll have my latte, I'll have my nice bit of food with it, and I'm making it experience rather than just going to some little cafe that it's not exciting.
Yeah. I think like loads of places in Worcestershire as well do really sort of interesting brunches as well, like really well done ones. It's not just like, here's some bacon and egg on a plate sort of thing. It's not your sort of like basic brunch.
Oh no. We've got, I mean,
premium.
a few, just to throw a few out there, if you are into brunch or interested, I can throw a few out. We've got Hash.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Wayland's Yard.
Yeah.
You've got, these are all in Worcester City Centre. You've also got Good Roots.
Yeah, I was going to say Good Roots.
You've got Check It's in Ombersley.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Toast.
Yeah.
Which is
just
stone's throw from here.
it's
Very
dangerously close.
dangerously close. Yeah. So anyway, we're not here to all talk about brunch. However, I'm happy for it to remain a feature because I get properly excited about good brunch. I think arguably it's the best meal of the day. So
Oh yeah, definitely. So
I'm
go
glad
on
you
then.
agree.
What have you been up to then?
It's been an interesting week from a work perspective because I'm looking at it's always exciting and when you get to look at something you don't do every day, right? So um this week the focus has been looking at mobile device management. We do mobile device management, we manage, laptops and so forth, but it's specifically for phones. And within that remit, it's to manage both iPhones and Android phones because this company have supplied both.
Okay, that sounds annoying.
It is because iPhone and Android are very different and
Yeah.
they're very different to manage. So there's not a huge amount of companies that go, well, here is a device management solution that you
Mm.
can deploy on both. They do exist. Microsoft, and this I should probably mention, this company are with Microsoft, so they have Intune as their device management platform, so we can use that. But if you want to use it properly,
Yeah.
it means you've got to do a factory reset on the phones.
I bet everyone loved that.
So when you're dealing with 30 phones
Mm.
with a split between iPhone and Android, and you've got potentially 30 factory resets to do, because
Yeah.
it's seemingly like you can do a light touch kind of management, but to actually fully enroll a device in a management platform, you have to enroll it in either Apple Business Manager or Android Enterprise.
Mm.
And to do that, generally requires it being done and enrolled in a factory reset.
Oh God.
And some people might have kept their work phone separate,
Yeah.
so only used it for work. Some people might have merged
Yeah.
their personal and business life on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, our phones are our most personal
Mm.
touch point with technology. Generally, they're the things that you would put photos on and take photos of. You've got all your chats, you've got your uh, all your usually, if you've merged the two as well, you'll have your personal email accounts, you'll have your business email accounts, you'll have all your apps.
I can think of a lot of people. I bet they use their phone. And you like autosave passwords as well, so you
Yeah.
don't know what they are.
Yeah.
So when you factory reset that,
And you're kind of mixing in a few worlds on a phone as well. Because if you think about it, if you've got an iPhone, for example, you've got an Apple ID associated with that phone, right?
yeah,
You've possibly also signed into some Microsofty stuff and some Googly stuff on it. And then you've got all your different apps as well. And then on a Samsung are very much, because obviously Samsung being the main Android phone, you've also got a load of, well, it's fully sort of entwined with Google.
okay. I don't know anything about
Now,
Samsung.
well, Samsung. It's kind of embedded. You kind of to create it. Kind of when you set up a Samsung device, or it generally gets you to sign into the Google Play Store,
Okay, interesting.
and therefore you have to have a Google account. So it's very entwined with that. So yeah, our phones are very personal for us, and so obviously in this example, we're going to have some people that are fully sort of fully have it on like personal and business usage,
Mm.
and some that don't. So it's a really interesting
Was there a lot
problem
of
to
kickback
tackle.
on it? Or do you? I bet
There's
you probably
not
don't
there's
really
not
know,
kickback because we're just at this point discussing the possibility of what if we were to deploy and to take control of that.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because if you joined a company that already had that in place, they would just deploy all the settings and the profile and all the management facilities onto that device, and you'd be given it and it's already managed. But when you're now talking about moving to that, when you've already got 30 devices out there in a mixed state of,
Yeah.
it does make it a very interesting.
Maybe what they could do is so you give people new phones, but you're not really giving them a new phone. You're taking this guy's phone and giving it to that guy, and you take that guy's phone for that. So you like cycle them
People
round.
don't like being without their phone.
No.
I've cracked the screen on my phone and I've got to take it in for a repair. And I'm thinking, you're going to have my phone for more than 4 hours, there's going to be an issue. People can't get hold of me,
Yeah.
which is crazy. You just it's also my biggest fear of what if I lost or broke or stolen, or
Mm,
the life impact of not having your phone is quite big for most
yeah.
people. I mean, for
Yeah.
you maybe less.
I was just thinking that. I nearly lost my phone about 3 weeks ago or something like that. And yeah, I wasn't that fussed. I realized I hadn't got it, and I was like, oh, well, maybe it was about time I had a new phone. And then annoyingly, I found it again. So I couldn't warrant getting a new one.
Annoyingly, I found it again.
I was
You're
like,
I can almost guarantee you're the only person listening that feels that way.
although I was thinking this could be really annoying because I haven't made like a backup to copy it all from. So
Well, there are some frustrating bits about changing phone. Obviously, there's some things that are easy, like for example, iCloud will automatically back up all your photos and stuff like that. Signing into your Apple ID will then bring things like your Safari web browser, and if you sign it, if you use other browsers and stuff, certain things will come back down and resync, right? And you might have to sign into a few apps, but there's things like Authenticator that can be a little bit of an issue. Some things move over, some things don't, and I've got hundreds on my phone.
yeah.
So for me, the idea of changing or not having it for a while is probably more scary than some.
Yeah. I'd struggle to be without a phone entirely, but I wouldn't be fussed about sort of losing my phone and having to get a new one. If that makes sense.
You're on like an iPhone
I'm like
10?
10.
You're under 10. And what is it now? 17.
Oh, I don't know. I've never looked.
17, I think.
I don't generally buy things that depreciate so heavily in value new. I will always buy used. But I'll always go like used with warranty. So
I'm the opposite.
okay.
Not with cars. I don't mind going
Mhm.
but like tech,
Yeah.
because I love it so much. I want a new shiny laptop or a new shiny phone, brand new, out the box, never been touched before, only me, and then I'll smash it. No?
I don't mind though, because don't you always get really precious with it though?
Yeah.
And the first scratch or
Yeah.
anything you get on it, you're like,
And then
"Ah,
over the
this is
months and years, I
horrible."
care less and less, and then I
Yeah.
throw it on a brick by
But
accident.
but if you've already got that one singular scratch on there, then you never feel that bad. You never like, I have to cradle this and like I can't get it, I can't use it at all. I don't care because someone else has already done that first scratch for me, so I'm okay with it.
I don't know if this is even going to show up, but I'm going to put it at the camera. It's probably
Bring
going
it
to
back. Put it yeah, put that.
but the crack is right by the camera as well, and they're going to have to. Anyway, enough on phones. Let's go. Let's dive into this week's main feature of the podcast. So this week we're talking about cloud storage versus on-site storage, and I thought it's been a bit of a topic for you recently, Josh.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that in a little minute. But I don't even know where to start with this one. But Josh, tell me let's use you as an example.
I could sort of. Do we talk about my setup because mine's quite an interesting one, or do we talk about just general setups?
Let's start general,
Okay.
and then we'll go into specific on you because you are a unique case.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that.
Mhm.
And I'll get into that. But in general, you've got, when you look, most places these days will offer cloud storage. So whether it's Apple, iCloud, where it will store your photos, it will store certain information about you. You've got the Google Cloud, which will, again, do your photos. If you're on a Samsung, you're probably putting your photos in the Google Cloud or Samsung One. Weirdly, it gives you a choice there. And Microsoft, you've probably got OneDrive.
Yeah.
Google Drive as well, obviously. But in any sort of productivity stack, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Google, whether it's Apple, you're going to have some kind of option to save files in a place that you can easily access them, which is it's evolved quite quickly over the last, say, 10 to 15 years, because before that, everything would be local. Before even internet was one huge breakthrough, but and with internet connectivity issues and like dial-up speeds,
I know them all.
Yeah, floppy disk, CD drives, DVD drives, hard drives, and all that sort of stuff. So everything went from being local to suddenly just cloud storage, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have had quite a significant evolution with it. But if you were starting something from scratch now, you're probably going to end up in some form of cloud service. And there is advantages to that. And the main ones being you can access it from anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So if I'm working as it happens, I brought my laptop today. I'm working in Josh's studio. I don't need to try and VPN or remotely connect into a server or into an office space. I can just access my data, my files, my emails, my everything direct, just because I've got an internet connection, which simplifies it. It means on the phone as well, I can access my everything from that device. So the cloud and cloud storage is great in a lot of cases.
Yeah. So I think I've always been a bit of a slow adopter of all the sort of technology. And that's partly because of my circumstances growing up. So my parents were quite slow to take on like broadband. Broadband, it was always like, why do we need this? We don't need this. What's the internet? So we clung on to dial-up for years. Which, oh god, yeah, and then numerous arguments that because my brothers were
don't use the phone, don't use the phone, it'll disconnect us.
And my oldest brother, he's about 15 years older than me, and he was trying to set up like he was doing a computer repair business at the time. So can you imagine his like sort of need for access to sort of internet services? And there's like there's always this constant fight going on between like who's using the phone, who gets the internet.
Well, there's a step back in time that most people these days won't have to worry about.
Yeah. So yeah, it was always a bit of oh, we're finally gonna have to do it because everyone else is on broadband. And I think we managed to argue the case in the end. And then of course he started using it for gaming, and that's way more interesting. But but yeah, so I started using cloud services more for like your emails, and I remember using Google Drive a lot early on because I liked the shareability, and obviously Google started adding in like shared docs, so that was brilliant because for clients you could be like, oh, we set up a shot list and we're going to send it to you, and if you want to change anything or add notes, and then suddenly you could do that. And I remember the day when I opened it, and obviously you had the live cursor where you can see the other person. I was like, oh, we can both type at the same time. Oh my god,
that's really weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you're like, I'm gonna type you messages. And it's like, what are we doing? But being able to do that was pretty game changing in terms of like planning and that side of things.
It allows you to collaborate live from remote locations, right? Where you don't have to be around a desk necessarily or in the same looking at the same screen.
Yeah, exactly. And I quite liked it for storing certain docs and things like that. So if you knew you were going to need it later, it was just a great little sort of base to put things. And then over the years it sort of became more and more, you sort of integrate it into like the business and how you work, and suddenly you want everything in there because then you can access it from everywhere. So it was always like trying to put more and more into it. And then I started getting the problem of storage.
Yeah.
Which this is
we'll dive into that properly in a little bit, because like storage size makes a huge difference, and volume, and like how much data you have.
Yeah.
But for general sort of most people this day and age, the cloud storage makes sense and it is slightly annoying that everything's gone into that subscription model, and some people really don't like that, but it's the way the whole industry has moved. When you look at taking on any service nowadays, you're probably going to get a cost per month, or an app, it's going to be a cost per month, whereas legacy or old school way of doing it would be you would pay for that piece of software and you own it entirely for its lifespan. Same with Windows, same with if you had a servered environment, you'd buy the server outright, you'd deploy the packages and pay for the packages that you had on it outright, and then that would last for X amount of years. Whereas now everything's it's £5 a month for that, £10 a month for that, £6 a month for that, ongoing forever.
And I think so the thing with the sort of cloud photos, I find it may be a little bit cheeky in terms of how they do. And
It starts off at like 99p. Oh, 99p. It's
yeah,
all it's going to cost you. Have extra. You need extra storage. Have extra storage. You're like,
yeah.
yeah, okay. And then you hit that storage ceiling, and it's like, oh, it's only like £1.80 now. Have the £1.80. We'll
Yeah.
give you a bit more. And then suddenly the next jump up is like going from £1.80 to £5 a month.
Mhm.
And then, but you have to do it at that point because you're so embedded in their universe and their
Yeah.
world, and you're like, well, I can't lose my photos. It's just £5 a month. Then you hit
Yeah.
that ceiling. It's like £10 a month. And you're like, does this end?
This is perhaps my issue with it, because for me, like, especially photos, like your personal photos, if you think, I mean, prior to sort of internet and cloud and digital photos, think of, like, I don't know, your grandparents had like a big album book. Like my dad has an entire bookshelf, because obviously he took a lot of photos, of all these little photo albums, and there's like tons of them, and exactly where they are, we don't pay a subscription to keep them there, and there's always, obviously, I'm not expecting Google to go down overnight, but there's always that you don't know, in like 20 years time, is Google gonna have some issues? And
I'm going to counter that. What if there's a fire?
True, very true. So I think it's good to have a backup.
Yeah.
But like, well, this is the thing, isn't it? It's like, does it have to be subscription cloud? Could it be local?
Yeah, because today you could very easily buy a USB drive off the internet, whether it's a little stick or a bigger drive. Let's say it's got a terabyte of data on it, and you could whack all your files on that. You could even buy two, copy one on device one, copy two on device two, and you could leave it there. And you don't need to pay a subscription service. You could just have your data on there.
Yeah.
It does mean if you ever want to access it, you need to go get it and plug it in.
True. Although this is a very slight tangent. I sort of bought this for work, but it didn't work for work because I was using like WD system, like NAS drives, and I bought a WD home like hard drive.
Yeah.
Thinking I could plug it all into it, but because it wasn't a business, it was part of the home system, they wouldn't talk to each other.
Right.
So I ended up with this hard drive. I was like, what am I going to do with this? But I realized you can get a nice little app on your phone and it syncs all of your photos. So I don't have a subscription based, but it's cloud accessible, but it's a physical drive.
Yeah.
Because it's just hooked up to the internet. So it acts exactly the same as, your Google Photos.
I would counter that with, you are more technical than most people.
Very true.
And if I told my mom to try and set that up,
yeah, I wouldn't expect anyone to do that. That was just like a little. But
so it is achievable to not be in like a cloud storage world at the moment. But for the most part, in any kind of business setting, you're probably going to have some kind of professional email and therefore productivity apps like Word, Excel, and so forth, and Outlook. And with that, you're probably, based on the way it is today, you're going to have some data storage in there anyway. So by operating in business, you're almost defaulted going to have some kind of cloud storage system available to you, right? So it's a case of, where can you use that? And if you and this is where we're going to get really specific into you, because the biggest difficulty with cloud storage is file size, is data size, right? Because when you're talking a few megabytes, a few gigabytes, it doesn't matter. When you're only accessing like small documents or small file sizes or just normal workloads, it's fine. Even on a bad internet connection to a degree, because you can download it in advance and so forth. However,
well, I'll do you another use case and like comparison, and this leads into my problem.
Okay.
So I have a client, and they have now gone completely cloud.
Okay.
So their entire business, they don't have a server. Their logins, their computers are literally just an interface.
Yeah.
And everything they have, I think they use a specific bit of software that acts like it's like an OS, but it's all just cloud-based system.
Most people will be in that sort of setting without it right now anyway, but carry on.
Yeah, so their whole thing is cloud-based. And anyway, they came here and did a podcast. and finish the podcast, give them the file. I'm like, right, here's give me a USB. Here's your file. Great. We get a phone call about 2 days later, and they're like, just tried to put the file on my computer, and it's saying it's gonna take like a day, and it's like clogging everything up. And we've had like the like our IT guys on the phone saying like we've used all of our storage space, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And I realized that they are obviously, because they're cloud-based operating system, they've plugged in this USB and they're not putting it on their laptop.
They're putting it in the cloud
They're
environment.
putting it on a cloud drive. And so the video files that we're giving them, which I don't deem as big at all, they're actually tiny in comparison
Go on, how
to
big
other
are they?
stuff. I mean, they're probably, I guess, 10 gig, maybe 20 gig.
Okay.
Like, so I'm thinking, that's barely anything really. Like they're tiny little pieces considering. But that was enough. I think it was probably like 2 or 3 episodes worth. Completely was like clogging up their system, and their IT people are like, well, you're gonna have to pay like, 40 quid a month for the amount of storage you need for all this stuff coming, that you're gonna plug into this.
Hold on. I mean, presumably, can't they just, what they're going to do with those podcasts is upload them, right?
Yeah. So they were putting them, just the raw content, unedited, straight into their sort of cloud storage, I suppose.
Well, this is because they're effectively using dumb terminals, which is a device that doesn't have like local storage and local anything really. It's just an interface to the cloud, which is not what most people will have currently. They're going to have a device that's got Windows on it. It's got 250 gig local storage or 500 gig local storage, etc. They're gonna, and then this shouldn't have been an issue because you could just plug it in, do the editing on a computer that's got that they need to do, and or just upload it to where they need it to go, right? But because they've gone all the way down there,
just chucked it. The whole system is cloud based. So,
oh wow. Well, I mean, the easy answer there is somebody's going to have to just.
Well, the basic thing is because obviously, if video isn't this is quite a unique sort of step for them. Is just have a little hard drive. You can get hard drives that 2 terabyte little drive that would be, this is what I class as small, that you could just store all of those videos on, and then in about 5 years that might fill up and you could get another one.
I'm going to ask you a question now, Josh.
Okay.
How much data have you got?
So on
total.
Okay. I need to calculate how many
just roughly
drives I've got.
Don't go too deep.
Okay, it's probably over 200 terabytes of storage. I think I calculated we're nearly halfway to what's the next one? A petabyte? I'm not sure.
I don't even think I know.
Well, we're going to need to know soon because we're going to be talking about it.
It might be.
I need to check.
I mean,
I think it is a petabyte.
Don't hate me because I don't know the answer, because we don't generally deal with data sizes that large currently. I mean, it's going to get there, right? It's going to become a more, used word at some point. But this is what I mean and what I was about to say when Josh gave that example. Like, Josh has got so much data, and it's not just archive stuff or previous projects, because arguably you can get a device or a series of devices, or what's called a NAS drive, which is network address storage, where it's basically a series of hard drives that you put into a business, and you've got a huge data space where you can put stuff on, right? You've got that.
Yeah.
And that's great. But and you can just put all the archive stuff on there. But your active work life and your active projects, how many of those projects do you reckon data size are active?
Well, okay, so our active drive I think is about 3 terabytes.
Yeah,
it's
so
usually about 80% full.
Yeah, so let's just say argument's sake 2 terabytes. You've got 2 terabytes that you need. That is way more than the average person will need immediate access to. And it's not just immediate access. You are loading it into editing software. You need that data here, close, on the computer almost. But you also need to be able to share it, because you've got you might do a bit of editing, and one of your employees might do a bit of editing.
Yeah, exactly.
So This is what I mean. And this kind of inspired the episode here where Josh is on an extreme. Okay. He's on the extreme. He's got a lot of data and needs access to it all the time and works with it all the time. And then has a huge archive. And so Josh has ended up with a NAS drive, Synology, for those in the know of or might have heard of them before. But you've not only got one, you've got two because you get them to back each other up. You've now got offsite replication and we've got our own issues there where we're now navigating where normally you just create some kind of bond between the two and transfer data. Josh has also got the Starlink that has been, which is the internet way it receives internet, which adds another layer of cloud gateway, which makes it near impossible to connect at a reasonable speed to devices because everything changes from a VPN and a private tunnel connection standpoint.
I've learned a lot that I don't like.
I've had to dive in recently into Josh's setup.
I think it made us both cry, to be honest.
I feel like my heart is still bleeding. What it means is when somebody's got a normal amount of data, they've got a few gig, even up to a terabyte, right? It's like you can easily back that up. You can have it readily available. You can do your files on demand, which means it will open them as you need them. The challenge is when you need to like load that into a graphics card because you're doing some high-end stuff on it. So this is in the realms of then people that are doing some kind of editing or they're working with big files like CAD, where they're doing drawings on really huge file systems. So although for the most part, and I'll say for the everyday business, cloud is relatively straightforward and easy to set up. You'll almost have to go down that route with the 365, Microsoft 365 or Google package that you end up on anyway. So you might as well use and abuse it because it's there, it's ready for you, and it is simple and easy. However, if you've got huge data or requirements that are a little bit out of the box, you need to consider it because it adds complication, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So we almost have a bit of a hybrid now where we share, say, things like Excel documents and things that clients want to look at that are more about planning. So those are all cloud-based. And then we have our project-based sort of working files. So I'd love to be able to join the two. And I know in any other instance, I'd be able to do that. But because the files are so big, they just have to stay separate. And we just have to have them on physical drives.
They have to be local. And nothing's going to give you like a 3 terabyte active working kind of.
No. I mean, I even find I get frustrated now with just hard drive transfer rates. Like that, I'm like, wow, surely I'm sure we can transfer this quicker, but this hard drive's just like, maxing out.
There are quite a few like factors at play there, like what type of drive is it? How is it connected? What are you going via a USB, or are you talking about a drive that's connected to another drive that's directly into the motherboard? If it is, what's the motherboard connectivity like, and so forth? So there's like all these bits actually matter, because if you've got this like terabyte USB, if you have one of those and then you plug it into a USB 2 port, without realizing, and you transfer data, it'll be way slower than if you plugged it into USB 3. Then you've got USB-C, so it does matter.
Here's a question, slightly off topic, but USB-C, I was sort of under the understanding that is basically, USB 3.1, technically. And that's a standard for all USB-C drives, is that right? Or ports?
Yes. Well, no, there are... Okay, it gets more. I can't go into it all now.
Okay,
but
fine.
It does get more complicated because you've got different grades of USB-C port. So some that can carry power, and some are called like Thunderbolt and light. So there are different grades of USB-A's and USB-C's. So let's not get into USB types now. Because if we want to go there, I probably need to refresh my knowledge on some of the nuance between. But I definitely know that within USB-A, which is your main one, the little sort of
the square one,
the old school one that you'd plug the most mice and keyboard if they're wired into and so forth, versus the USB-C, which you're probably going to be plugging your phone into if you've got a modern phone, or it's the smaller, sort of more rounded one.
Yeah.
Obviously, USB-C is the more modern port. More higher end laptops will pretty much only have USB-Cs, and
Hmm.
in the middle will have a bit of both. But yeah, each of those has different connect speed and connectivity options with them.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, USB-C is going to be quicker than
Yeah.
USB-A, although there's different grades of both.
Yeah. But I see. I just I knew USB obviously got 1, 2, and 3.1, but then I thought USB-C was. I thought they said they were going to standardize it, but it seems like
They've standardized the port,
yeah, it seems like the speed's still
but they've still got different
a lot of freedom.
variations of the port
Okay.
capability.
Yeah.
Because you can, for example, some laptops, their charging port is USB-C.
Mm. Yeah.
So that'll have an ability to both be used as a normal USB data transfer port
Mm.
and carry power and deliver power through it.
Yeah.
I saw something upsetting the other day.
Okay.
My brother-in-law unplugged his laptop that was using USB-C,
Yeah.
just plugged it straight into his phone. In fact, oh, I need to charge on my phone. I was like, have you not checked the wattage that you're not just going to fry your phone? It's like, oh, I've done it before. It's all right. I'm thinking,
To be fair, I've also done the same thing because I put my whole soul faith in the safety systems because I am very much like technology has come so far. I believe that the people who are putting it together have come up with all these safety mechanisms that should protect. If they're going to make a port that is standardized and I can plug into my phone, it should be able to not blow my phone up. That's my opinion on it. So I'm willing to take the chance.
I find this deeply upsetting. I will purposefully use my phone charger for charging my phone and my laptop charger for charging my laptop. And if the two have the same connection, never in my wildest dreams would I use the one for the other. You maniac.
You've got
You're
to
gonna get,
expect
you two are going to become unstuck one day.
when you send something like that though into like the mass public, it's going to happen because you do. It's built into you learn that in preschool. It's like, oh, that's a circle, so that fits the circle. Oh, I'm not going to get into the video that I'm thinking of, but it's like that fits into that. Therefore, I'm going to do it.
I need to research it a little bit to see how,
That was fair.
if it's properly
That was a bit of a
dangerous.
tangent.
No,
but I ruined it.
But no, I need to find out if it's properly actually dangerous or not. But it's, I mean, when you talk about data storage and hard drives and USB drives and external storage and all that sort of stuff, then yeah, it does lead into the port, the connectivity, the speed, data transfer, and all that sort of stuff as well a little bit. As my general guide for businesses and people, as in people outside, because everyone's got a business self and a personal self, right?
Yeah.
Josh Middlebrook has got a Josh at work environment and a Josh Gmail and personal photos and stuff environment, right? Everybody's got that split. So for business, unless you've got weird and wonderful data requirements, you're probably going to be using some kind of Microsoft or Google based data sphere of like SharePoint or Google Drive or that sort of stuff, and be able to securely share files and information with different members of the team, right? That's still a recommendation, I would say. It's the easiest and cleanest way to do it. It's also, if you're in that business world, it's easy to back up.
Yeah.
You don't, like in the old school world of backing up, you would have to copy it to a USB drive, a server, a external drive connected to a server, etc. But these days, sometimes there's apps built in, or if you're working with an IT provider, there's an opportunity to get them to use a cloud backup agent, right? To at least make sure that data is safe from breach. Because if it's in the cloud, you don't need to worry about fires and so forth, right?
I'd almost say people who are less tech savvy, that's almost the safest option to do, because you trust your IT guys to look after the system you've got. Trust them to look after the backup as well, because guaranteed, if you look after it yourself and you're not too tech savvy, like you'll need a backup, and you're like, where is it? How do I use it? How do I bring that in? So it makes a lot of sense. To be honest, I would probably do that if I didn't have the backup set. If I was doing cloud based,
Yeah.
I'd probably be like, Matt, can you back this up? Because it's somewhere else. I know that your security's solid, so I'd get someone like yourself to do that.
Yeah. And I think it's fair to say that if you're either in a very weird internet situation, like you're relying
Like
on
me.
you are, but if you're relying on like 3G, 4G dongles because you haven't got a solid internet connection, your connection is choppy, or you're using like big data, like huge files, you need lots of stuff locally. I think that there's definitely still scenarios out there that would require you to have to think about and have a plan for how you're going to A, store, and B, back up or make accessible that data that you need, because there are solutions out there. There's ways to do it, and it's always worth just considering if you feel like you're outside of the normal realm of most people in that can connect to the internet and don't have redonkulous size data like Josh.
Yeah, like me.
And that's kind of what we wanted to cover today. I know it's a little bit maybe specific, it's a little bit on the nose of not many people care that much. They just put their files where they do, or they don't have that many files that they need to actually store, and that's fair enough. And you all are just using Google iCloud or Google Cloud for everything, and that again, it's fair enough. It's just worth at some point having a bit of a think about where
it's always worth being aware of where your stuff actually is. Well, not so.
And if you're not, do an audit. Like, take the time to figure it out, because it's only then, like, when your computer doesn't turn on, or you lose connection to the internet or something like that, and somebody goes, well, where is your stuff? And you're like, I don't know. It is your responsibility to know where your stuff is, or hopefully get someone that does know what they're doing to both do it, help you sort it out, and probably then document it a little bit so that you've got an emergency
exactly
route.
It's just like remembering passwords, and it's the same thing.
Don't talk to me about remembering passwords, because that is everyone's rubbish at it.
I know, but then I won't get into it. We covered passwords in a different one.
Oh no, let's get into question time. Okay, well, we have hit question time. So if you would like to ask us a question, please email in on podcast@synced-up.co.uk. Now, we need to be a bit quick because we overran on the last bit of the section here. So I'm going to quick fire Josh one. I think he's got one for me as well. So let's dive in. Josh, if you had a bot.
Okay.
In physical form,
right.
A robot.
Okay.
And it could do up to 3 core tasks for you in business.
Okay. Can it do anything?
It can act as a computer. It can automate or do something that you don't want to do. What are your first 3 tasks, or one, or a couple, that you're going to give this thing to do for you?
Okay, it can do my reconciling on Zero and do all the accounting stuff.
So bookkeeping.
Bloody hate that.
You're going to hire a robot bookkeeper.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, okay, good. That's a good one.
It can do that. It can go get me lunch each day as well, because the amount of times I forget to bring lunch with me is unreal.
Josh has been gifted an AI-based robot that can do anything he wants, and he's immediately putting it on chef duty. I like it.
Yeah.
What's the final?
I feel like it could be put to better use, but if it could just keep everything tidy, like really tidy, just all the time. Like if somebody puts something in a corner and it shouldn't be there, it just goes, nope.
If you listen to this podcast and think, I want to do those jobs for Josh, I want to come in and clean up and make him lunch, then please apply.
And you're a robot.
Yeah, and if you're a robot.
Right, okay. I have an equally random question for you. Matt, if you woke up tomorrow morning and you were me, what are you gonna do other than freak out?
So I wake up.
We just switch bodies, but we won't hear my side of it. You can ask me that next time.
It's so weird, Josh.
I know.
I'm gonna firstly I've got a life, okay,
Okay.
including a wife and kids.
Not anymore, you don't.
No, well, I'm gonna firstly question how the hell am I in Josh's body, and where the hell is Josh? Is he at home with my wife and kids right now? Is he me? So my first point of call is to contact you.
What have you done?
So I'm ringing Matt off your phone. Second thing I'm going to do is upgrade your phone because you're on a despicable version of iPhone.
Pretty out of battery.
That is so random, Josh. Oh my God. Well, I probably think, oh, I'm suddenly slower. I'm going to need to get back to training. I don't know. Where would I be? Where do you sleep? You're in your
Where do
house now.
I sleep in a bed, generally.
I think it's going to be surprising. So I haven't seen your sleeping arrangement. I haven't met the guy you're living with Alex at the moment, right? I've never met him. I'm going to walk downstairs. He's going to look at me like, "Hey, Josh." I'm like, "Yeah." Hey. I cannot believe you brought this question into the podcast. That is kind of amazing and ridiculous at the same time. But yeah.
Excellent. Well,
first thing I'm doing is contacting me, whoever's in my body, going, "Are you me? Am I you?" And then we're gonna have to figure out a way to get up to mischief.
that seems fair.
My biggest thing is what's Sarah gonna think?
Well, she wouldn't know initially, would she?
Well, we'd have to tell her.
Oh yeah, we'd tell her, but like,
because there's no way you're doing. There's no way we're not telling her. Let's put it that way. What a ridiculous way to finish this podcast. Anyway, there's the email. Get in touch, and we will do our best to answer your questions. See you.
See you next time.